Video for you today, okay? In this video, I want to talk about why you have to heal your childhood trauma, okay? And I want to talk about like it's so important to kind of understand like your past shit because it can affect you today in your life. All right. And I'm gonna share some personal shit with you. Um, and how, my past stuff affected me as a grown man and how I had to really how I was able to overcome this, man, and really start to become more self-aware so that I didn't allow my past shit to like ruin my relationships anymore. Um, and how I had to really like learn how to heal this. Okay. But I had to figure out what the fuck was going on at first. Okay. So I'm gonna tell you a story here, man. So my shit started when I grew up. I grew up with my parents got divorced when I was 7 years old. All right. So I lived with my mom and my sister, um, my whole early childhood until I was 11 years old, which is when I wanted to move with my dad. All right. So I grew up around women and like a lot of us did. And I had visitation with my dad. So I was exposed to my dad, but just on the weekends. So at one point I wanted to move with my dad and I told my mom about this and, she was hesitant initially, but she let me go. She knew the value in, a kid, a young boy, being with his dad and stuff like that, even though she had a certain relationship with him. They had a very rocky, tumultuous, unhealthy relationship. So I moved with my dad when I was 11 years old, right? And coming from, being with women, I never saw my mom in another relationship, never saw her have a relationship. So when I stepped into my dad's dynamic, he was married with my stepmom and I had my stepsister there, right? So it was more of a family dynamic. But I had never seen like when they would get into arguments, like my dad and my stepmom, I had never seen no shit like to the level that they would argue. The name calling, the disrespect, the just unhealthy ways of handling conflict. This is what I would get exposed to, right? So I saw a lot of this. Okay, 11 years old, and I'm going to talk about one particular instance as I got older between me and my dad, right? Um, so I'm seeing like unhealthy shit. I'm seeing that my dad can lose his shit at times. Um, you know, and my dad wasn't all bad. I'm not going to make this video and just sit here and beat my dad down. But hard working dude. Worked. My dad worked as a concrete worker. Poured concrete for years, and used to drink, functioning alcoholic, and but had like had a harshness to him, had an aggressiveness to him. My dad grew up in my grandfather was old school Southern dudes. Grew up in the South, so they had a lot of shit that they dealt with too growing up. And as I've grown up, I know that we all have our shit, right? And so my dad had his emotional wounds and things like that. So I remember one point, man, this is like I'm about 15, 16 years old, right? So, I'm in the lifestyle now. I'm kind of used to the nonsense and whatnot. And I remember when the game WWF SmackDown came out. So this is like back with the first PlayStation game, okay? And or when PlayStation 1 was out and that WWF SmackDown came out, I was a big wrestling fan, huge. Still am to this day. And I remember so I had gotten into trouble at school. This is when I started fucking up in school too. So I must have been about 16. I might have been a junior. And I was like leaving school. I was cutting class. I was getting disrespectful with teachers and stuff like that. And I remember my dad put me on punishment. And and my dad's punishment, what that looked like was like my shit was like a jail cell, like stripped down, posters off the wall, no PlayStation, no TV, no VCR. You might not even know what a VCR is, but none of that shit. Your room is like a fucking box, right? And I remember, I had gotten like suspended from school for a couple of days. I can't remember what it was, and it might have been smoking or something like that. But anyways, I got suspended, and so I'm not allowed to play the game or anything like that. And I remember, like, because I'm at the house now, my parents are at work. I remember hooking up the game, right? And I was playing that SmackDown, and I had gotten the SmackDown from a friend. I was borrowing it. I didn't even own the game, so I was like, yeah, I'm excited. I want to play this game. Nobody's around. I can play this shit. And I remember my dad used to have this type of energy where he was like a drill sergeant slash private investigator slash human lie detector. Like this motherfucker like just knew, excuse me, but he just knew everything. Like you couldn't get anything over on him. He was like like the type of dude that was very particular, keep you under a microscope, I think, looking back on it now. So I remember I was in trouble, but me and he was like, he was taking me to go buy this game. We went to Best Buy, right? And I remember he was going to take me to buy this SmackDown game. And in my mind, I'm nervous as shit in the car because I already got the game, right? So I'm like nervous. I'm a little kid. I'm like, oh shit, should I tell him that I already got it? Does he know I've already been playing it? And we're driving. I think we went to Best Buy, which was out by this mall, like in a shopping plaza. And I remember we're driving and I'm like nervous as shit, man. Like I just like can feel the anxiety in me, like, because my dad had an unpredictability about him too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how much trouble I'm about to get in. I don't know what I grew up in an old school era. Okay. Um, and I remember somehow I told my dad, it was like I confessed. Like, man, I already got the game. And my dad he got so pissed off. Like, you've been playing that fucking game or after I told you not to be playing the fucking game. And like, I knew that I was doing something that I shouldn't have been doing, but he got so heated, right? And in this moment, this is a moment that I've remembered to this day, but I'll never forget this. What came next. All right. My dad got so heated. We're in the car. I'm in the passenger seat right next to him. Almost like scared as fuck. I was scared of my dad. I was a little dude. I'm naturally a little dude. I got my mom's size. My mom like 5'4". I was like 5'7", 5'6" probably at that time. 100 pounds, soaking wet. My dad was like 6'4". He wasn't the hugest guy, but he was taller than me and he was bigger than me and more intimidating than me. And I just remember in that moment, man, scared as shit. Because I knew I was probably gonna get even in more trouble than I already was for messing up in school. And look, when I tell you that this motherfucker spit in my face, right? When I was 16 years old, bro, I had never experienced anything like this before. Just like motherfucker, fucking, like kind of like a piece of dirt, right? And I just remember like feeling hella disrespected, just feeling like, and another strong feeling when I think about it now, man, was like a feeling of helplessness. Like this was my pops, right? And it was like I couldn't do anything about it in the moment, And now at times, man, over the years, I've thought about like, man, I should have fought my dad. I should have done something. I should have stood up for myself. And I never did that to my dad until I got a little bit older. When I was in this moment, it was like I'm scared as shit, getting disrespected. And that was just one of those moments where, like I said, I felt helpless. I felt like a strong sense of like not considered, like who I was on a human level as your son. I felt like I wasn't who I was, my feelings, everything. Just I wasn't being considered. Now, granted, I also had this like torn shit in my head because I knew I was fucking up. I was already in trouble for school. Now I'm doing things that I'm not supposed to be doing. So in a way, I'm thinking me getting my face spinning is almost like warranted in a way. Like I know it's disrespectful, but it's like I've been fucking up, But also I know that that feels excessive. That feels like something you never do to somebody, right? You never treat somebody like that. And this is somebody who's close to me, one of the closest people to me in my life, right? Just on a human level, just my dad, right? And I already knew he was kind of buck wild, had his moments. And he lacked emotional control. He lacked emotional maturity, clearly, right? As I'm telling you this story. But the reason I'm telling you this story, man, is because that moment, right? And I'm just painting a picture for this one moment, right? The anger that would create in me, the disdain that I would have for my dad, and this was just one moment that I'm sharing, but there was other moments like this, right? And I remember like after this, man, or it might have even been before this, like I was I was like journaling, didn't even know what journaling was, but I'm writing things out like I can't stand my dad, man. I can't wait to get out of here. Fuck him, I'd fuck him up and writing all this type of shit, man. And just like trying to get my thoughts out. And that's kind of where I was at a teenage, as a teenager, at times, And this moment would impact me forever. And I'm going to tell you how it would impact me, because the helplessness that I felt, the not standing up for myself, the not protecting myself, you know, that would carry with me as I would move through life. And I'm gonna share how this really it impacted my relationships, man. Because the closeness that I had with my dad, that's your caregiver. So you already have a natural level of respect for this person. Well, usually you do, but so I noticed when I was in my relationships, specifically with the mother of my two youngest, right? Because that's the longest relationship I was ever in. When she and I would get into arguments, now I ain't never spit in nobody's face and never done no crazy shit like that. But what I would notice, and not just with her, with other women that I would, date and be with, there was this level of anger that I had. It was a level of, I was always sensitive to disrespect. I was always sensitive to that lack of consideration, where I felt like you just don't consider who the fuck I am. You don't consider my opinion, my values, whatever. And I didn't really know how to articulate this stuff at this time, right? I'm older at this time, right? I'm painting the picture of that incident when I was a teenager, but how like a particular instance like that can affect you on a moment to moment level as you get older and are not aware of this. Okay. So when I would get into these arguments with my ex, or with my the ladies I was interacting with, because like I said, when I moved with my dad, I never saw how to have healthy conflict. All I knew was yelling and cussing and screaming and tearing people down. That's all I knew. It was ingrained in me. This is not to make no excuses. This is to paint a picture, but also paint a picture of how I had to learn to take ownership for who I was. All right. So it's all connected too, man. Like that moment of helplessness with my dad, that's how I would feel at times when I got into arguments with my lady. And I couldn't articulate this. I didn't know this was happening, but it was a feeling of helplessness. So when I got into a disagreement with her, it was like this sense of like, you don't understand me. It's almost like I'm not even mad at her, but it's the feeling that I'm going through is so reminiscent. It's so familiar to me, like when I was a teenager, when I was a kid, when I couldn't protect myself, and I'm coming at her as if I wish I could have came at my dad. Okay, follow me here. There's a connection here. It's like I would lash out in ways with my ex where I wish I could have lashed out at him. Okay, where yeah, she might have said something that maybe she shouldn't have, or whatever. But it's like I would react in an excessive, aggressive way due to my own childhood wounds, my own childhood trauma. That shit where I couldn't protect myself, where I couldn't stand up for myself, where I couldn't speak my voice because of whatever reason. I'm scared. I'm intimidated. This is my dad. He's got a certain level of power. And, I just grew up in an era where you respect your elders. That's how I grew up, even if you're getting disrespected. So I was unfamiliar to certain behaviors and shit, but I knew it didn't feel right. So that, translating that to my relationships, man, I was behaving in ways that were unhealthy. I was lashing out. I was replaying the same behaviors that I saw, getting into arguments with my girl, cussing, name calling, tearing her down, stuff that I am not proud of whatsoever. But it was like that hurt little version of me ran my life for a very long time. And I didn't know that he was running my life. And like I said, I'm only giving you that one example. Imagine multiple examples like that. Not necessarily getting spit in my face, but the aggressiveness, the getting tossed around by your pops, you know what I'm saying? And again, this is not to make excuses, this ain't to tear my dad down. We've worked through our things and I've had to forgive and all this type of stuff. But this is to paint the picture of how your anger, this is really why I'm sharing this story, man. The reason I'm sharing this is because your anger, your deep seated emotions that you may have never fucking processed are going to come up now today if you don't ever get a hold on it. And you may not ever, it may be happening right now. It might have just happened a minute ago. You might have gotten into an argument with somebody and you're defending yourself from this place of when you were hurt as a little kid and you don't even see it. You're lashing out like that little boy, like you wish you could have done when you was a little teenager, and stand up for yourself and say, don't ever fucking do that to me again. Don't ever treat me that way. And you may be projecting this to your girl, and you may be acting in a way that is not necessarily like needed for that particular situation that you're going through with your girl. Y'all could be talking about she mad at you because you don't take the trash out or something, or she wishes you would have helped out a little bit more with the kids or something. And that's hitting that deep rooted shit in you where you feel like you're not enough. I'm not considered. My time and my energy and who I am as a human being is not being considered. And your only way of knowing how to express that is through elevated anger and self-protection. And that can look like some craziness. You saying some wild shit. You doing some wild shit. You just going off. You punching a wall. You are pissed off. And it can stem from that old shit. So again, the reason I'm sharing this is because a lot of us, we all have baggage. We all have those childhood wounds. And what I've learned is like, if you don't get a handle on that shit, it will run your life. It will ruin your relationships. It can get you into trouble. It's gotten me into trouble. I've had to go back and do a whole overhaul of who I am as a man. I had to unlearn that shit, man. And you might be like, well, how did you unlearn that shit? It's not just one thing you do. It's a bunch of things that I had to do to be able to unlearn that shit. Meditation, therapy, improving my self-awareness, all types of things, okay? But to give you a little something that you can take away from this video. And also, man, if you're enjoying this video, man, because, this is some deep personal shit, man. If you like this type of video and if you resonate with this, man, make sure you hit the like button, leave me some comments below and let me know how this is hitting you. You don't have to get all super personal in the comments, but how has your childhood shit affected you today? Okay. But what I had to learn, man, this was really pivotal for me on my journey, man. I've talked about it in past videos. It's not just one thing, but when I stumbled across this type of therapy called IFS, internal family systems. I'm not saying you need to go do IFS. I'm just going to share with you how this opened my eyes. I realized that I had to learn how to go back and learn to give that little version of me, that 15-year-old boy that got spit in his face, that couldn't do shit about it. I had to give him love. I had to give him the love that I wish my dad would have gave me. It's that fucking simple. I had to. Now you're like, what does that even look like? It's literally for me. I had to start having conversations with myself, like when things would happen today in present time, when something was said to me. I'm trying to think of an example. It could be anything because it's happened multiple times to me. I was very sensitive to things. I was overly sensitive. Somebody could say something and I'm processing this as disrespect, just like I did when I was 15 years old. Now I carry this armor with me, this protection, like, fuck you. Don't talk to me like that. Don't treat me that way. It could be at my job. Somebody asking me to do something. If you say it a certain way, it's hitting me a certain way to the point where I feel it on an internal level. I'm like angry. I'm tensed up. Like, don't talk. I may not be outwardly saying it to you, but inside I'm tensed up. And I had to learn how to stop being so tense, how to loosen up. And the way I was able to do that is I had to give that little boy love. I had to have a conversation with him, like talking to him. Like, Bryce, yo, that sucks what that person just said to you, man. I know, man, that shit is hurting your feelings, bro. It sucks. All right. But look, you're safe. All right. You're good, man. You're a strong individual, dude. You done been through a lot. All right. You've equipped yourself with skills and tools, man, to get through this too, man. All right. That doesn't make what that person said, right. All right. but just know you're loved, you're safe. I talk to myself as in a way as I wish somebody else would have spoken to me. That's what I had to do. That was just a piece of it. And it was like I was validating my experience. That moment of disrespect at my job, that moment of when somebody cut me off in traffic, and I can feel the anger, the disrespect, the lack of consideration for who I am on a human level. And it could be something small. You might know exactly what I'm talking about. It could be something small, man, but it has such a profound impact on you physiologically. And what I mean is like in your body. When that shit would happen to me as a kid, it was like it would disconnect me from my body, right? So I wasn't used to like my feelings, right? It was almost like I would shut them down. So even as I was an adult and I would get into arguments, with my lady, I wasn't connected to my emotions. I was just replaying, reacting, fuck you, just going off, saying foul shit again that I'm not proud of. And I had to really learn, like, because I knew that that's not who I wanted to be. Okay. And you mix this with drinking and unhealthy habits and shit, bro. I was all fucked up, man, in my relationships. And then once I got rid of the drinking and the shit was still happening, like losing my shit in arguments, like, man, I got to do some deep soul searching here. This is not cool, man. I'm acting in a way where it's like I'm losing control of myself. That ever happened to you? You ever get into an argument and it's like you're so, what they say, you seeing red? You're so tensed up. You can palm sweaty, mad as fuck. You're on level 16. You're checked out. You are not you anymore. You're saying things to tear that person down. That shit. I had to go back and heal that version of me, man. And I had to acknowledge him. I had to acknowledge, like, yo, I know you're hurt, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened to you back as a kid? Like, yeah, it was out of your control. That doesn't make it right. That shit sucks that somebody would do that to you, somebody you loved. And I know my dad had love for me, man. My dad told me he loved me. Again, this is not to blame. This is just to connect the dots of why you may act a certain way now as an adult and how your past shit may be driving the car, so to speak. So for me, what I had to do is I had to step into the driver's seat. I had to stop letting 15-year-old Bryce drive the car whenever I was met with disrespect. Whenever some little nuanced thing was said to me, and my coworker might have said something slick, and maybe their intention is not for it to be meant slick. I'm taking it that way because of my childhood shit. My past conditioning has created this lens of how I see the world and how I experience things. I'm all tensed up now, going through life tensed up, protective mode. Don't come at me this way. How did you mean that? You meant it that way? Well, fuck you. That's not a healthy way to live. And I would ruin relationships because of it. And like I said, I had to do some soul searching. I had to heal that little boy. And that means I had to show that little boy the love that he did not get. And this has allowed me, even to this day, man, along with other shit. Like I said, it ain't just one thing. That this is a pivotal thing that I've learned. That IFS therapy that I just mentioned, that was a pivotal aspect of it, but it was a journey, man. Learning how to slow the hell down and pause. And that ain't gonna happen just like this. Like I may say that to you, you gotta learn how to slow down and pause. No, you like, how do I do that? I know it's tough. I had to go back up into my mind and fucking reconfigure the motherboard, bro. I had to develop a different relationship with my emotions and my thoughts because they were all fucked up from my childhood. They say hurt people hurt people. If you was hurt at a young age, you might be carrying that shit and hurting people now today and don't even realize it. You're so used to it. Your behavior is just so familiar. But you know something is off because when you calm down after you said that foul shit and you calm the fuck down, you know something off. Now you got to go apologize and repair because you know you didn't fucked up. You didn't went too far. That's what I used to do. It went too far. You just said some foul shit. Now your partner is looking at you like, man, I don't even trust you. Who are you? That's why I'm sharing this story with you, because you may be carrying something that is fucking you up today in present time. And you need to go back and heal that version of yourself so that it doesn't run your life today. That's what I had to do. All right. So if that's, if that's something that you're into, you want to learn how to do that so that you can gain more self mastery, more emotional mastery of yourself, so that your past is not running your present. And you want to dive deeper into this type of work, man, then use the link in the description, man. Book a one-on-one call with me, all right? Because you can get past it. It's going to take some work, bro. Let me know if y'all want me to make another video, because I know I talked about, a certain type of therapy that was able to help me, but there's more to it. Let me know if you want me to make a video where I break down the steps, or, because it's a lot of things, man. It's being mindful. It's meditation. It's, when I say redeveloping a relationship with your thoughts and your emotions, a lot of us are disconnected from ourselves. You got to reconnect with yourself so that when somebody says something to you and you get angry, you know what it feels like in your body. I know what anger feels like now. And it's like, I have the choice to like respond to that feeling or not. Just let the feeling happen. That takes practice and takes time to get to that point. And that's what I want to help you with if you want the help. All right. So again, use that link in the description. I don't even know if I asked already, but if you got some value out of this video, make sure you hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. All right. Let me know what y'all thought about this video, man. All right. Like I said, it was going to be a real one. Okay. And make sure you check out one of my other videos. I'll leave the playlist for emotional intelligence on the screen somewhere, or I'll leave some video related to this for you to check out. All right. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.